After more than 3 years of investigation, involving over 300 witnesses and 1.7 million pages of documents, South Africa's Judicial Commission of Inquiry finally published its first findings on Tuesday, 4th January. State capture, high-level corruption and fraud, all under the tenure of former President Jacob Zuma, is all there. The BBC described it as a playbook on how to corrupt a government. The inquiry describes a systematic process undertaken during Zuma's 9-year presidency, whereby key personnel are removed from significant government departments and lucrative state-owned enterprises, then replaced with close allies and pliant officials. The inquiry, chaired by Deputy Chief Justice Raymond Zondo, also found that Zuma placed the interests of the Guptas, a family of Indian-born businessmen, at the expense of the people of South Africa. These elements are what are known as state capture, a form of corruption in which politicians and businessmen conspire to influence the country's decision-making process to advance their own interests. Zondo's report details corruption at the state-owned South Africa Airways, the South African Revenue Service, and lucrative contracts awarded to the New Age newspaper owned by the Gupta brothers. Let's zoom in on the South African Revenue Service, otherwise known as SARS. SARS was once regarded as a world-class tax institution, but became a key department targeted for state capture, specifically because its investigatory and enforcement capacity was a hurdle to people involved in organised crime. The institution was systematically and deliberately weakened. By creating a pervasive culture of fear and bullying, more than 2,000 highly skilled senior staff members were lost, including investigators. US-based consultancy firm Bain & Company is also highly implicated in the decline of SARS. The report further states that President Jacob Zuma fled from testifying before the Commission because he didn't have answers to the questions he would face. It was for this reason that Zuma was jailed in July 2021 for contempt of court. He was released on medical parole in September before being ordered back to jail by the High Court in December. Zuma has appealed against the decision and thus remains on parole. Current President Cyril Ramaphosa has hailed the report as a defining moment for ending the state capture that took place under Zuma. Yet many South Africans are frustrated that the growing evidence of corruption is not being matched by holding officials to account. So far, 1,438 people or entities have been implicated in malpractice. Some, like Minerals and Energy Minister Gwede Mantashe, also ANC chairperson, are still in Ramaphosa's government and in the ANC's top leadership. Globally renowned human rights organisation Amnesty International urged Ramaphosa's government to implement the report's recommendations so that those responsible for corruption are held accountable. Amnesty International South Africa Executive Director Shanila Mohammed says, "Corruption undermines democracy and the rule of law, which infringes on basic human rights. In South Africa, access to basic services is largely crippled by the mismanagement of public funds." Shanila Mohammed puts forward the argument that graft has prevented the South African government from providing all citizens with basic services that are their right. Nearly 28 years after South Africa ended apartheid and achieved democracy, almost a third of the country's 60 million people still do not have reliable access to safe water, and 14 million people do not have basic sanitation.